Okay, so just before we start this video, a little bit of a disclaimer. This video was meant to be up yesterday, last evening, as you're watching it. Unfortunately, my computer blue screened and I couldn't upload it at a sufficient time. So it's out this afternoon. It's also recorded before I hit the incredible milestone of 1,000 subscribers. I'd like to thank you guys tremendously for that. You can't understand how grateful I am of that. I mean, it's just a huge milestone to hit. Really didn't expect it. I'll go over it a little bit more in some special videos that will be coming up on my channel in the next few videos, so stick around for them, but in the meantime, enjoy the video. Hello there guys, and welcome, it's Niran here, and today it is time for another episode of FIFA 14 Aston Villa Career Mode. Today is going to be time for episode number 42, and in today's episode, as you can see on the calendar, we'll be playing Manchester City at home. And what a game that is going to prove to be. On the next page, we'll be moving on to December. Oh, that was good timing. We'll also be playing in the Capital One Cup quarter-finals against Tottenham Hotspur. So two very hard games yet again, just to keep up with the trend. Again, I really apologise. I think it's been 5 days since my last video. Exams are over now, so videos will be returning to every other day. I'll be doing an update video in 2 days' time to explain that and some other things. But it's time to get into the episode. Just as a little side note, we also play West Brom and Spartak Moscow in the Champions League next episode. But here is a little example of the squad report. The first 4 players not really changing at all. Same for Lowton. Grenier going up 2. Interesting, Vlaar hasn't gone up or down a stat, but he's losing a few physical stats. That's an indicator that he'll be starting to go down stats in the near future. Backley's had some great growth this season, as well as Juricic and Benteke. Backley up 3. Both Juricic and Benteke up 2, as well as Baker up 2 to 75. But none of these players really changing this month, apart from Maximilian Meyer, who's up another one now to 69 stat. Q69 jokes in the background, but still, Yuri Ignatovic there up 2 to 61. Luca Longa up to 61, as well as Dwyer up to 66. So the young players making quite a decent bit of progress. Romagnoli up 1 to 69, again, pew-pew with the 69 jokes. But Nathan Ake there too, up 2. Roder up 2 as well. But Romagnoli, it's a bit disappointing. I thought I was going to play him a lot more than I did, and then sort of got him and realised I didn't actually need him that much. In terms of the players out on loan, Daniel Johnson and Mason Bennett up 2, as well as Jordan Barry up 2 now on 66. Jack Grealish, great growth he's been having this season. He's up 3 as well. Jordan Graham even up 3 too. And there was someone else who I wanted to talk about when they went past. Gary Gardner, that's it. He's gone up 3 stats as well, despite not really playing anywhere near as much as he did last season so far this time round. But now we're going to get into the first game of this episode against Manchester City. Fatigue, not really too much of a problem. A few changes had to be made. Ashley Westwood was then going to be brought out of the team for Sebastian Roda, as you can see there. But there's the team in full. Zieler, Klein, Papadopoulos, Vlaar and Lowton at the back. I'm sure you guys don't need me to remind you of that. The real only change there was Bruma coming in for Zachariah Backley. He was a little bit tired. Ake and Baker, defenders on the bench. Backley as well, making it onto the bench, as well as people like Westwood, I think, and Gary Gardner may have made it onto the bench, Bakuna, and the such like Lacazette, all the usual suspects, and Max Meyer, all of them, and Zogbeer, all on the bench. But the first action of the game was actually an injury, and it was for Manchester City. It was one of their key players, Sergio Aguero, going down injured with a shoulder injury. Now, this got me thinking. This got me thinking big time, as it shows Santi Cazorla there in the background, who's clearly signed from Arsenal. But I have not had a single injury this whole series in 2 seasons. As John Guidetti comes on there for Aguero, I know there's sliders for injuries on this game, but I haven't changed them, and there's no real point doing it. It's just not realistic. But I've not had any injuries. Nevertheless, the first chance of the game would go to Bruma, and some nice bit of play there a few minutes later between Grenier and Benteke. A nice little 1-2, and Grenier, though, shooting right at Joe Hart. Fabian Delph there trying a Ronaldo dinky-dink, but unfortunately it did go wide of the far post. And a yellow card there for Sebastian Roda after an advantage, from the referee for a foul previously. But it was a pretty quiet first half. The final action of it would be a long shot from Santi Cazorla, forcing a pretty decent save there from Zieler. And Jovetic would then go forward for Manchester City. How he didn't put that on target is beyond me. But Man City were coming back into this game. We dominated really at first, but then Jovetic there with another strike, forcing another good save from Jovetic. And if a good save from Zieler from Jovicic's shot. If someone had been there to mop that up for Manchester City, we would have been under a little bit of problems. But we were in fact in problems a few minutes later, because Roda was about to be sent off. He's going to get a second yellow, only the second time someone has been sent off this entire series, the entire 42 episodes. And to be honest, it's slightly harsh. It's a coming together, but I don't think I even pressed B. never mind X, so it's literally just a coming together. He does take out Micah Richards, in fairness, but I didn't really mean to, so I had to change the formation, because basically I was missing a midfielder. So we basically went into, if you like, a 4-4-1 formation, although it was 4-5-1, we were missing one of the centre mids, but unfortunately that would count, because the smallest man on the pitch, Jesus Navas, in the 89th minute of all times to score a goal, would put Manchester City in front, making it 1-0. And yeah, it was a bit annoying. Matthew Lowton sort of caught napping, didn't really adjust to the through ball. I think it was from Mesut Ozil, yet another Arsenal player to sign for Manchester City. Although I suppose it's nice that FIFA being realistic there, that eventually all Arsenal players do sign for Manchester City. Pew pew. But still, anyway, we would end the game. We would lose the game. That's what I was going for. We would lose 1-0. Sebastian Roeder getting sent off in the 74th minute, and ultimately that would be what cost us there. That second yellow, but still, surprisingly, Roeder actually getting one of the best ratings of the team. The best rating for us would go to Clement Grenier. I'm going to assume someone like Navas or Mesut Ozil got man of the match. Both of those guys played very well. Zieler there with a 6.5. Actually played relatively well. Did Ron-Robert Zieler, and a decent rating as well for Christian Benteke. But after the game, we got a scout report, a youth scout report, and ultimately it was absolutely horrendous, as all youth scout reports on this game seem to be. FIFA 15, for some reason, is extremely hard to find youth players, as presented here by the fact I've only got one youth player in my youth academy. His name, Nadia Letellier, 17 years of age, from France, and he's not even 60 stat. He's like 54 stat, so he's very much average at that. Before the next game of the episode, though, against Tottenham Hotspur in the Capital One Cup quarter-final, we had a message there from Alexander Lacazette, the 23-year-old French forward, saying he did in fact want to start the next game. I'm quite cool with that, because as you can see, fatigue is a huge problem. Grenier having to move out of the team, Delph as well, Lowton coming out as well for Nathan Baker. Roeder, of course, suspended due to the red card against Manchester City, and Lacazette would also come in for Benteke. Here is the team in full. Zieler, Klein, Papadopoulos, Ake as well coming in for Vlar, and Nathan Baker at left back. Meyer, Westwood and Nzogbi, an all-new midfield three compared to the last game, with Bakley and Juricic the wingers, and Alexander Lacazette up front, losing a bit of strength and heading ability up front really, but gaining a little bit of pace, I suppose. Not really the best option, but ultimately Christian Benteke was too tired to play this game, and it's unfortunate because this is going to be a hard game against Tottenham, a big team, but we would get the first chance of the game handed to us on a plate, and we would score. Alexander Lacazette side-footing it past Aurelio Gomez in the Tottenham Hotspur goal. And to be honest, was it Matt Dawson, I think it was, who made the mistake? Basically, we had the ball, and Nzogbi got the ball. Sandro then won it back, bumped into his own player, and then just passed it to Alexander Lacazette. Brilliant pass, it has to be said, great assist. But that was what made it 1-0 in the 15th minute, and we were gifted a 1-0 lead. But Aaron Lennon going forward, and what a challenge that is from Nathan Ake. Lennon about to pull the trigger there on the half-an-hour mark. We then went forward a few minutes later, and Nzogbi cutting inside past Michael Dawson, and he would force the save from Aurelio Gomez, who was to have an absolutely incredible game. Gareth Bale, though, going forward, turning inside, playing it for Paulinho. What a save, though, from Zieler. And then the second time, a double save from Ron-Robert Zieler. But it was almost like the two goalkeepers were having some sort of competition, because then Aurelio Gomez pulled out a pretty top-draw tip over the bar from the corner, from a header. I think it was from Ake, I don't know. Then Max Meyer getting the ball on the edge of the area, and another brilliant save there from the Brazilian Aurelio Gomez. But that's not where it was going to end, because Zachariah Bakley went forward with his right foot. That must have stung Aurelio Gomez's palms, but it was a great save nonetheless. And then Zieler was at it, because what a save that is. That is absolutely incredible, keeping us in the game, keeping it 1-0. And that is how it would end. Tottenham went forward, but they couldn't quite find the equaliser. Probably should have scored there right at the end, right at the death. A bit of a quiet game, to be honest. Really one that was dominated by the goalkeepers, both of them playing absolutely astonishingly. That's the best I've ever seen Ron-Robert Zieler play, and ultimately got man of the match. Surely it would have been a bit of a competition between himself and Gomez for man of the match. 7.3 rating as well for Papadopoulos, and 7.5 for Ake, plus a 7.4 for Baker and 7.4 for Klein, highlighting the defenders did a lot better than the attacking players. Lacazette there with a 6.8, and Westwood also with a 6.8 rating. Just going to have a look though at the player stats before we end this episode and take a look at the table. Christian Benteke is currently the joint top goal scorer along with Shinji Kagawa of all people there for Manchester United. But then look at this, two West Ham players next up on 8 there, Mark Noble and Andy Carroll, followed by Luis Suarez, Wilfred Boney of Swansea, De Bruyne, Juricic of ourselves of course, Muriel Grenier, another Aston Villa player, then Morrison, Guthrie, Bale, Lallana, Chadley, Van Persie, Rooney, Nugent, Gutierrez, Podolski, Aguero, Jerome, Sinclair, and a few others. I sort of ran out of time, unfortunately. But look at this. The assists very much dominated by the Aston Villa players, again by our own players. Grenier there on 8, 2 clear of Christian Benteke, who's 2 clear of Fabian Delphin. It's Paulinho, Coutinho, Kagawa, Sandro, Aguero, Jarvis, Jerome, Valencia, Luis Suarez, and Zonzi, Schürrle, Canales, Kakaniklic, or Kashniklic, how do you even pronounce that? And then Chadley, Parker, Taylor, and Nolan rounding out the top 20. And then for the clean sheets, I have to look a little bit further for an Aston Villa player this time. 8th place there, Ron-Robert Zieler with 4 clean sheets. But after that astonishing game against Tottenham, I think he probably deserves some sort of promotion. I don't know, a new contract, something like that. A brilliant bit of work from himself. Really did well in that game. The best I've seen him play. But now we're going to just round out the episode with a look at the Barclays Premier League table. And this is how it looks after 15 games in this season. We are 6 points clear, because despite that first loss, of course, in the Barclays Premier League, completely forgot about that. That's our first loss, the end of our unbeaten run in the Barclays Premier League. Chelsea only drew, so they only cut the gap by 1 point to ourselves at the top of the table. It's Spurs, Manchester United and Manchester City rounding out the top 5 after that win against ourselves, followed by Liverpool, West Brom, Arsenal, Swansea and West Ham rounding out the top 10, with Stoke and Wigan just outside the bottom 3, with Reading, Hull and Leicester occupying those relegation battles at the moment. But I'm hoping you've enjoyed this episode of Career Mode. It's been a little bit quieter than other recent times, and of course of this season, in goals flying in left, right and centre all season so far. But like and subscribe if you did enjoy this episode. Comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed the video that much. In the future, I'll be sort of engaging a little bit more with you guys about comments and stuff, asking you some questions about things. I'll think of some. I haven't thought about any for this video. And of course, there will be an update video in 2 days' time, because I'm back to videos every other day now that my exams are over. But nevertheless, I hope you have had a brilliant day. Enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.